Naturally disappointed to have lost. Sort of watched the game back. There were a lot of good things that we actually did on the day. But unfortunately, just synonymous with where we've been all season, you get opportunities, you get chances. We've had a couple of really good chances early in the game, as they have, but chances that we should be doing better. And then it's a real sloppy one to give away. It's something I've moaned about all season in terms of defending our own box from set pieces. It's a good ball in, but the header looks far too easy for me at the back post. And then speaking of easy, the easy nature at which Mason Spence, rolls one on the bottom corner was even more disappointing really. And then at 2 you're in trouble, and again the third is a well worked one from them, but worryingly for me was the ease at which he got out. And then we get ourselves back in at 3-1. I think we've had them one disallowed. But ultimately, it's another game we've lost, and another game where we've conceded more than zeros and ones. And if you've heard me say it for the last 2.5 years, if you haven't heard me say it, I don't know if you've been on the moon. But zeros and ones give you a chance of winning. Conceding threes, you got no chance because you put a lot of pressure there on your front players, and that's been another problem of ours this season. So disappointed to lose. Good luck to MK Irish. They've been comprehensively better than us over the course of the season. You don't beat a team, or they've pummeled us 3 times now. That's not by luck, it's not by design. They're better than we were, but ultimately for me, looking at the 3 performances consistently over the season, I think that was our best one against them in terms of how we've played against them in the FA Cup, and obviously their league game at their place. We've lost the game, and the nature of the goals that we've conceded are especially disappointing once again. So very, very frustrating. Thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree everything that was said across there, and all 3 goals really could have been avoided, like Joe said, and it was again our own wrongdoings. I wouldn't want to say we give them the goals, but in effect we did, especially the first 2. The set plays is something we've banged on about all season. We write notes up on the board. We give the lads everything they need to manage in them situations, and unfortunately for some reason it just doesn't come to fruition. So it's something we're massively disappointed about. I know I personally pride myself on clean sheets. I know Joe is an ex-defender. We look at that column of goals conceded this season and the goal difference in it, and it's shocking. It's nowhere near synonymous to what we do here, what we believe in. So it's definitely something to look at for next season. And like Joe says, good luck to Irish for the rest of the season. And in their final push, I know they had a bit of a blip against Harpenden the other day, but they'll bite back, they'll bounce back. Good luck to them for the rest, and hope they win it.
Really poor, really poor. I think we flattered to deceive first half, and what I mean by that was we rotated the ball, we played out really well, we had some good possession in the midfield. It looked neat, it looked tidy. The amount of times we broke their midfield line in the first half to no avail was a problem. We kept getting out through our opposite fullback, and then unfortunately something that we seem to do quite a lot is we find an opposition's weakness, we find opportunities, and then decide to stop doing it. And the biggest problem that we have, and I preach about it all the time, is move the ball with a tempo, move the ball with speed, move it with purpose. When you break a line, it's then what you do next, and I thought our movement was stale, and ultimately we've lost to a goal that I think Ant will tell you is a collision I've had with players for about 18 months now, about this nonsense from front players dropping into needless pockets in midfield. When you're a front player, go and play up against centre halves, go and be a threat on the opposition goal. And unfortunately we seem to want to go and get ourselves involved in all the build up and the link play, and then when we do get ourselves into good positions, we don't have enough bodies filling the box. Unfortunately for us, we're expensive, the ball's been cleared, and we don't regain our shape quick enough. And to be fair, it's a terrific cross, and then the lads crept in at the back post and scored. But that was the real disappointment. And we spoke at half time about being more positive, more on the front foot, playing with a higher degree of risk. And unfortunately, we've gone out in the second half and gone out with a whimper, which was really, really disappointing, because Tring probably, in fairness, could have extended their lead on 2 occasions. Desi's made a good save from one. But again, 3 headers in our box, that's a problem. And it goes back to ownership. Like I said, when they cross the white line, I hear managers and coaches, they take a lot of credit in the world of football, when things go well and people talk about this. But players must also take credit when things go well, but must also take a degree of criticism when things go wrong, because ultimately the job that you're given, you have to be accountable in terms of dominating your man. You cannot have people running free off you in the penalty box. It's happened all season. You cannot be responsible. Every time we seem to give the ball away, it seems to be somebody else's fault. And we've got a few that probably, well, more than a few, I would say over half the group have got a slightly warped delusion in terms of where they are, where they can get to, and where they think they're going, which is concerning. So there'll be some conversations over the next few weeks in terms of realigning what's going to get them there. As I said, the biggest thing I wrote in my programme notes today ahead of Saturday, the biggest thing that's disappointed me this year is our weakness in the psychological and social corner. I think there's been a lot of self-centred attitudes in terms of look after number one, social events, things like that. Players can't get away quick enough. I don't know whether they've got to get away and watch the EastEnders omnibus, or they've got things to do, but it seems to be more important than spending time with their teammates. Lack of accountability has been an issue, and we've shown a psychological soft underbelly, and I'm not trying to give Leverstock Green any tips ahead of us. I can't imagine they're sitting there tonight and particularly panicking about playing us on Saturday, far from it. The only way to fix it over the next 4 games is to make sure that we do the basics and we do them well. Like I said, I'd rather go into the last 4 games of the season, and if that means that we have to sacrifice the odd one with maybe a little bit of experience or someone who thinks they've got quality, and substitute that for grit, desire and reliability, then so be it. And that's what we're going to be working on tonight in terms of how I want us to look for the last 4 games of the season. And like I said to the players the other day, every single player is playing for their future, everyone, because ultimately next season everyone starts from afresh. We can have no complaints about this season. And like I said, I was really disappointed with the manner of the defeat on Tuesday. I thought we were never really tested their goalkeeper. I think it's 95 minutes, and with all due respect, he probably could have jumped into the crowd and had a drink with them, to be honest with you. That's how busy he was. So we have to be better, simple as that. And as I said, I really feel for our supporters. It's a cop out. Nowadays every single player you see seems to tweet the same old messages: support us, fans were class, we go again Tuesday, all the usual cliche nonsense. But actually our support was different class again. They cheered us on right till the end. It was a horrendous evening in terms of weather. It was an horrendous game, and we haven't given the supporters anything to cheer. And as usual, they clap us off. They stand there getting soaked. And that's a special fan base, and they deserve the most amount of credit for this season, in my opinion. Forget coaching staff, forget management, forget players, directors and chairmen. Everyone contributed, but the supporters have been an absolute different level in terms of the loyalty they've shown us. We haven't deserved anywhere near what they've given us, and that was really epitomised again on Tuesday night in a local derby that was played like a pre-season friendly. Lacked any edge. I would go as far probably to say as it's the worst game I've seen between us and Tring, and they deserve to win the game, and that was what was really disappointing. So fair credit, they deserve the 3 points. We got rightfully what we deserved, which was 0. We've got to fix it for Saturday, and what's going to be another real tough one. Yeah, so we'll wait and see tonight. We've got some players coming back, some players that we'll assess. Obviously Rory Mills is back this evening, so we'll test his back. Ezra Ford's put a thumbs up in the group chat, so hopefully he'll be in contention for Saturday, but again we'll see. We've got a couple that we don't know what state they're in terms of physically. I don't know how some of these are emotionally. 4 games to go, and like I said, all we want is players that are not victims, players that really want to have a go for the last 4 games. There's still 12 points up for grabs. We've got to make sure that with 3 of those games at home, the support deserve that as a minimum. But no one's going to give you anything. You look at the pitch out there at the moment, there's standing water on it. So I imagine it's going to be a heavy pitch again. Good. We haven't earned the right to play on top surfaces and this time of year. What we've got to do is get back to a little bit of nitty gritty and do the right things. And as I said, we've got to analyse. We've got a few that probably won't kick a ball for us again this season. We'll analyse Ethan Creary's ankle. Strong possibility his season may be over. We've got Ricardo Green and James Lowder coming back in tonight. And to be fair, I've given those 2 a little bit of a hard time a couple of weeks ago. But they're 2 characters you definitely want in the trenches with him, without a shadow of a doubt. You want those types of characters because they will run around, they will compete, they will do everything they can to win games of football, and you need those types around you at the moment. And Sam Scott, another one, you know, he's come back in now, deserves a run in the team. Another lad I've known for a long time, and I'm now going to concentrate on what he does well, and less so maybe on the things he doesn't do so well, like all of them. But what we go back to my point, squad update will be simple. We're left with what we have. We've got the two Kavanaghs, Connor and Aidan. They deserve their opportunities. It's not a gimmick. Aidan coming off the bench the other day at a young age. Alex Buck being a regular starter every single week. These aren't gimmicks. These are players who deserve that opportunity. And I will back those types of players to the hilt and back. So looking forward to tonight. Looking forward to getting out on the training pitch. But players have to earn every single minute. If anybody thinks they're going to get a little bit of a payment just for their summer holidays, that's not going to happen. Everyone needs to earn every single pound they earn from this football club, like they probably haven't done as well this season. So excited for this evening. Good to get the boys back on the training pitch. We've got a park Tuesday now. It's difficult because I'm still a little bit annoyed about it, but we've got to get right ready for Saturday, and hopefully can turn a better performance and actually give the supporters something to cheer about, and send everybody away happy on a Saturday evening, including me and you, Ian.
We'll try.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? You have to give them stop credit. You know, they've been up there from the first bell, really. They've stayed in there. They will have an opportunity when the season finishes to push for promotion, and you have to acknowledge that. You have to credit teams when they do well. We have a rough idea what to expect, but you never really fully know what to expect in the Spartan, because things can change overnight. You don't know what's going to happen. What I do know is that we've got to replicate the performance that we showed at their place, one of our few real good performances this year, if we want to make sure we're emerging with 3 points. It's a home crowd. We have to back ourselves at home, of course we do, but they're certainly not going to come here and expect any. You know, you look at Leverstock throughout the course of the season; they've not taken any shoe-ins. They're always well in the games, and they've done well to some of the results this year. What they've done is they've managed to grind out results that perhaps some people on the outside didn't expect them to, and you have to commend them for that. So we're expecting a real scrap first and foremost. I think that's the key thing that we have to get our heads around. We have to understand there's the right times to play against the way that they're going to set up to defend. And ultimately what we have to do is be more of a threat in their box. We have to commit more runners into the penalty area. We've got to play with more risk in terms of the attacking half. We've got to stop playing backwards all the time, stop playing sideways, stop playing safe and simple. These creative players that call themselves creative players have got to play with more risk, and that comes with a trade-off, because when you play in those areas of the pitch, to make something happen is really difficult. That's why as a defender it's nice and easy, because all you do is destroy anything. They've got to create a masterpiece, they've got to make something happen. And there's sometimes that disconnect between your midfield players are saying the front players aren't making the right runs, and the forward players are saying the midfield service isn't good enough. But like I said on Tuesday, like I've said too often this season, the ball comes back from our front players far too easy, far too easy, and at times the service and quality of what they've been delivered, if you've got that kind of service in a restaurant, you'd probably walk out. So we've got to get that synchronised, and it doesn't seem to be a problem on a training pitch on a Thursday night, but it seems to get to a Tuesday or a Saturday, and all of a sudden things become a little bit squiff, which goes back to the psychological corner that I was talking about, in terms of anybody can do it when there's no pressure amongst your peers. It's can you deliver and can you do that when there's a little bit of pressure on, and I use the term a little bit of pressure. It's in front of a couple hundred, few hundred people. There's bigger pressure out there for other teams, so we've got to deliver that on Saturday, and we've got to make sure we impose ourselves. We're not going to be sitting there going into any game just thinking, oh, let's just get through to the end of the season. Our intent and intensity has to be a lot better than it was on Tuesday night, and if it isn't, then Leverstock will be 3 points better off come 5 o'clock on Saturday, and we'll be. Well, we've been no better off than we are now, so it's going to be a challenge, but one we're very much looking forward to.
Yeah, what I will say is, obviously, mathematically we're now unable to get into the playoffs. Realistically, we probably do that, internally for a while, and we've got to look at ourselves, and we'll only look at ourselves for that reason. We won't look elsewhere. We'll look internally, and we'll look as a management team and a playing staff of what we've done wrong this season and how we can do better next season. But what we won't do is we won't take our foot off the pedal. Just because we're not going up doesn't mean we're going to get rolled over. We're going to give it a good fight, and we'll do that for the next 4 games. We're going to set mini targets for ourselves now, look at the next 12 points and see if we can maximise that outcome. And we'll need a good crowd. It's the penultimate Saturday at home, so the weather's supposed to be good. Hopefully the pitch dries up. If not, maybe the league might let us play on the Astro, we'll see. But we're looking to give them a good game. So but this is a message to our players as well. Is listen, but just because mathematically there's no promotion on the cards this season, we've said it many times in the changing rooms and stuff about your motivation for next season and stuff. Be motivated to play for the rest of this season. Be motivated for the next game. Never give up. Always stay humble. Stay grounded. And look to maximise your performance and potential. So starting this Saturday, give it a good go.
They're all tough at this level. I know Sawbridgeworth have had a difficult season, but we played them in the Cup. They were a very different side from the team that we played away from home, so we played them twice this year and drawn both. We're expecting, like the majority of teams this year, you're expecting a team that runs around, competes, fights, scraps, and does those things first and foremost in games of football. And that's been part of my sort of grievance this year, is we've seemed to have come away from that. Things that we've been very, very good at in terms of rolling your sleeves up, dusting yourself, having a good old-fashioned punch up, if you like, at times. We've come very, very short on that. So we have to be prepared for that. Again, I keep going back to it. To be our second last home game of the season. We want to finish well. I don't want to go into the summer. Like I said to the players the other day, it's a long summer when you finish the season poorly, because you're only ever as good as your last game. And at the moment, our last game is a poor defeat at home. Simple as that. So we're not expecting a gimme. We're not expecting an easy one on Tuesday. We have to get back to where we were against Sheffield, elements against MK Irish. But let's be honest, we've underwhelmed all season. And I say we because as the head coach, that falls at my door. These are my players. I've recruited them. I've worked with them. I've done the best that I can with them. And I have to take accountability for that. But ultimately, we need players on Tuesday, on Saturday, for the rest of the season now, that are prepared to listen, prepared to follow instructions, prepared to do the best they can. But there's two things no one can stop you doing on a football pitch: communicating and working hard. And too often this season we've come up second best in individual battles. And it sounds cliche, but it's the truth. Before you worry about all the intricacies around breaking lines and rotating and around overloads, all that those buzzwords in football nowadays, you have to get the basics right. And the basics is defend your box, be a threat in their box, and make sure ultimately you turn the opposition at the right time, you get up the pitch, you squeeze the pitch, and things that, when we've done well this season, they're all things that seem to follow a similar pattern. When we've been poor this year, we spend our time running back towards our own goal, calamitous decisions rather, and put ourselves in unnecessary bother. So Tuesday will be treated exactly the same as Saturday, exactly the same as the last two. It's a game I want to win. I don't want the season to peter out. There's already showing signs with some of them that they maybe have got an eye on the beaches in Ibiza, I don't know. But those ones they can have an extended holiday, and there will be a few that their time with us is done. We're not going to entertain any more moments now. That they're gone. They'll be a free agent. And if we're being honest, we've had that conversation on Monday with the club. Really, they were incredibly supportive, been absolutely brilliant as a football club, more supportive than I would have been. In all fairness to them, I'm a realist. I'm not a fantasist. I don't, live on a different planet. I understand that it's a results business, and results this year have been very, very poor. But like I said, they've been immensely supportive. But we have to now look at every single player within that group that we want to move forward with, and unfortunately, there aren't many of them. A lot of those will be finding a new home come the end of the season, if people are prepared to take them. So they've got 4 games really to show us why they should be here, but more importantly, actually give us stake a claim if they want to carry on playing next year. So Tuesday's important. We hope we'll be backed again by a crowd. I keep saying undeservedly, but we had 350 plus against MK Irish. I think, if I'm right in saying, unless anything changed over the weekend, we are, our average attendances are the best in the league this year, and that goes again full play to what I said to our supporters. They haven't turned on us, they haven't turned on the players, haven't turned on me, haven't turned on Ant, Bergs, anybody. And that is again, synonymous with a very, very special club, that people that are supportive. And we need to now give them something to shout about, because as I've said before, the beer can't possibly be that good in the bar. To be able to clap us off after some of the howlers we've chucked in this year. So looking forward to Saturday, looking forward to Tuesday, looking forward to the rest of the season really. But there's also a part of me that can't wait till April the 21st and reset, reboot and recharge the group.